You have everything in there? There we go. Thank you.
Before we get started, we generally, when we go to the different cities, we hand out a first edition envelope, and we designed the stamp like a baseball ticket. And what we've done is we put the number of wins I had, all-star games, my uniform number, and on the back, it's ball games, innings pitched, that type of thing. But we'd like to have the mayor come on up, and you can hang this in your office or take it home. Well, it's a pleasure to be here. You're Gordon Head Community Center and the BC Black Cultural Center. First opportunity to meet Laura. I didn't have the opportunity to see you in Ottawa, although you might have been there. No, okay. I think both designs are excellent. I get some remarkable comments. I was in Windsor, where my relatives are, and in Chatham. My kids are surprised. Dad, that's pretty overwhelming. And because of the fact that, it's Black History Month, sports is a wonderful opening situation that happens to people. It draws people together. Sports can draw people from all different cultures all over the world because of the fact that it's just it's an entertainment that people want to see, regardless of what it is: boxing, tennis, football, baseball, basketball, whatever. And I was very fortunate enough to play 21 years. I think one of the greatest games that was ever invented. Supposedly, Abner Doubleday invented baseball, but in the history books, Canada played baseball well before the United States did. So it's a controversy. But being a Canadian, I'll give you a little background on how things started for me as a youngster. Chatham, Ontario, a very small community, about maybe 25, 30 black families. I was one of the only black athletes that played hockey. And I played basketball and baseball. Those were my major sports. I ran track in high school. But I was 15 years old. Jerry McCaffrey, my English teacher, he's a coach on the Valley volleyball team, told Jean DeJura, one of his friends that lived in Windsor, that there's a young Canadian kid I teach. He's 15, long, lanky. I weighed like 145 pounds. I was 6'2" at the time, 14 years old. My nickname was Plywood. Believe me, I was very, very thin. So, he came to Chatham and he taught history at one of the collegiate high schools. And he wanted to basically know what kind of sports I really liked. And I told him basically three. I'd rather play hockey than any other sport, because I had an opportunity to be in a hockey rink more than probably baseball, because baseball season is very short in Ontario. It started in May, you're done in September unless you get the playoffs. And basketball, it's a short season unless you play a lot in one of the local groups and leagues. So hockey was my sport, only because my dad took me to London in 1958 possibly, and the Boston Bruins were playing a spring training game against the Toronto Maple Leafs, and this name, Willie O'Reilly, does that ring a bell?
Oh, yeah.
One of the first men of color to play in the National Hockey League. And I said, maybe there is an opportunity for me to be in the NHL, but that didn't work. Basketball didn't work. I was Oscar Robertson. Because I could hoop, I could play. And until I really found out what Jean DeJura knew, the potential I had as a pitcher, because I was a tall, skinny kid, I played first base. Because I could jump pretty high, and balls that were not directed to me, I could basically have good hands. So I was a decent first baseman. But until I found out that throwing the ball on a monthly, a yearly basis I was a pitcher, really. That was my position. And I didn't know it, but Gene knew it. Gene was a shortstop in the Philly organization, but he found out later on the kind of potential I had. I was kind of a raw kid, 15 years old throwing, 1 month, 2 months, season started in the summer and through, had some success at 15, 16 years old, and the success started to get a little better at 17. I started to put on some weight, and by the time I was 18, I was throwing the ball pretty good. Scouts were flocking to my hometown. There weren't that many teams back then, but they were flocking. We had Cleveland, Detroit, Pittsburgh, the Red Sox, the Cubs. They had about 6 or 7 teams. Just follow me what I was doing at the age of 17, 18 years old. Every time I come to the ballpark, they wanted to know if I was going to pitch. I said, well, no, we have 3 or 4 other pitchers on the ball club. I'll probably be playing first base. Well, we came here to watch you pitch. I said, well, you're going to have to ask the coach when I'm going to pitch and what city I'm going to be in. And before long, they really wanted to see me pitch a lot more. So at the age of 18, I got a chance to really pitch a lot, probably every weekend. And as I said, they were knocking on my door and wanting to know when I was going to graduate high school, did I want to sign professionally, and let me know that they were interested. So by the time I was getting ready to graduate, I graduated in July from high school. The Phillies really had worked with me the most. I decided to sign with this organization. And I signed with them for a very small bonus and a monthly bonus. I tell people this all the time. I made $400 a month and $161 every 2 weeks. And I had a paper route when I was a kid. I made more money with a paper route. But I wanted to be a professional athlete. So I ended up being a Major League ball player, going to minor leagues. Started off in Miami, Florida. And as most people know, there were some problems in the South, having players of color on their team. We couldn't eat in the same restaurants. We couldn't stay in the same hotels as my teammates, the white players. And by far, we couldn't go to Miami Beach. And I tell people all the time, I didn't mean a tan, so why go to the beach? So I didn't have any problem there. I wanted to be a ball player. I'm 18 years old in a brand new city, Miami. And believe me, if you wanted to get in trouble, this was a city you'd get in trouble. I mean, the lights stayed on 24 hours in Miami. And we stayed in a black neighborhood off Biscayne Boulevard. Hank Allen, Richard Quiros, Reno Garcia, and a kid named Swanson from the Virgin Islands. And 5 players of color, and we played baseball. That's what we wanted to do. And that year was pretty good. Played about 8 weeks, the season was over. I got promoted from D-ball to AAA. In the Philly organization, they had 13 minor league teams, 4 D-ball teams, a couple of B, C, A, all the way up to the major leagues. So I made a big jump, only because I was throwing the ball pretty good, and they basically liked what I was doing. I went from wearing sandals and cut-off jeans to sport coats. I went from being part of an 18-year-old group of guys, the guys who were 25, maybe 30, that had major league experience. Does the name Luke Easter mean anything to anybody here? Luke Easter? Played with the Cleveland Indians? Big man, about 260 pounds. I watched him hit a home run, not off me, in Rochester, New York, off one of our pitchers on the staff. It is still going. It is still going, believe me. So I learned that playing against teenagers to grown men was something I had to learn, and I had to gain that experience pretty quick. The next year, they invited me to Major League Camp, got a chance to show what I could do for the parent club, the Phillies. I did well. And they sent me to AA, Chattanooga. Went to Chattanooga. Same situation. We had to live, black players had to live in a private home. My roommate was Grant Jackson, who was from Foster, Ohio. Reverend Ribbons. So we gave her $100 every paycheck. So $50 every 2 weeks. And it's like being home. Mom was cooking. And she asked you exactly what you wanted, the food. Only thing we had to be at 10 o'clock at night. Game started like at 5:30, 6 o'clock, game's over early, unless, you know, we come back in at 11, but you had to knock, didn't have a key. You know, Reverend Ribbons, he was a pretty strict man, believe me. So, and it worked. It was only like 5 blocks from the ballpark, Joe Engel Stadium. It's now torn down, they built another stadium in Chattanooga. Same situation. You know, you're going to Knoxville or to Asheville, North Carolina. We're in the Southern League, Memphis, Nashville. Oh, geez, I'm trying to think of some of the other cities. But same situation. You had to give your money to the white players and then bring the food back on the bus. Couldn't stay in the same hotels. But in 1965, I went to Little Rock. It was kind of an eye-opener too. Dick Allen was on our ball club, and there was 4 men of color. And it was really, this was really somewhat different. We had 4 players from different parts of the country. Dick Allen from the United States, Marcelino Lopez from Cuba, Richard Quiros again from Panama, and this Canadian. And we were embraced by the ball club. Even though there was a few idiots that put banners up. We didn't want black players on the team, and separate dressing rooms, separate washrooms, separate concessions. All the black fans sat down the right field line. But believe me, once the season started, players were embraced. They didn't care where you were from, play good. That's what we did. We led the league in home runs, led the league in runs scored and RBIs. We won our division in the Pacific Coast League. We got beat out for the Small World Series by San Diego, which was the Cincinnati organization, who I ended up playing with later on. Guys like Pete Rose was on the team, Tommy Helms, Lee May, Johnny Bench came up later on, but really some good ball players. And we ended up combining later on. Guys were all getting the big leagues, 1964, 65. We all came to the big leagues about the same time. So now we're in the big leagues. Now I make the ball club. 1965, I make the Philadelphia Phillies, get a chance to relieve one of the top pitchers on the team, Jim Bunning. First time I come in, boom, I get a win. I pitch 4.5 innings of relief, beat Bob Gibson in relief, beat the Mets, beat Cincinnati, beat a couple of ball clubs, really pitched well. Season's over, go to spring training the next year, make the ball club, then I get traded to the Chicago Cubs. This is where it all started. You know, good things can happen from trades, and sometimes bad things can happen. You make of what the situation is all about, you make it a good thing, make it a positive thing, which happened to me. My roommate was Ernie Banks. Got a chance to do really things well. You know, I tell people, and I'll get back to what my childhood was all about in half a second, but my mother was a Baptist. I had to go to church 3 times on Sunday. In Sunday school, sing in the choir, and take her to church in the evening. And a lot of times to play sports, Sundays. No, not this youngster. Mom wanted to make sure I knew what the heck the Lord was all about. She told me if you didn't abide by what the teachings of the Bible are all about, you're going to meet the devil. But in 1966, I met the devil. And his name was Leo DeRocher. Was he a tough manager? He was tough. He was tougher than a night in jail. He had 2 quotes. Nice guys finish last, and I'll back the truck up. If you didn't play well, back to the minor leagues, and don't be a nice guy when you're playing. You're out there to beat somebody. My first year with the Cubs, we lost 103 ball games. Out of 162, we lost 103. Believe me, that wasn't a lot of fun. We had a lot of clubhouse meetings, a lot of stares, a lot of looks from fellow teammates. You're not doing your job, the manager, the coaches, and everyone's just pounding, do this, do this, do this. It was not, 66 was not a nice year. 67, we win 75 ball games. Then we win 80. Then we're picked to win the division. 69, really playing well. Stayed in first place, basically 5 months, and then a crash came. We went into a slump. And as most people know, the Mets won that year. They were called the Miracle Mets. They beat Atlanta, they beat Baltimore for the World Series. We were second. Incredible. And then in 1970, Pittsburgh caught us. They won the World Series. So we had some decent ball clubs, players, incredible, some great ball players. As this gentleman mentioned, he made the mistake. Ernie Banks was the shortstop at the time. Billy Williams was the outfield. Buck O'Neill signed both of them. He also signed Lou Brock. Really some good athletes in that Cub organization. I was very fortunate enough to play 21 years as a professional, 18 years in the big leagues. I stayed healthy most of the time. Never had a sore arm in 21 years. You know, I look back now, maybe it was genetics, maybe it was how I carried myself, I'm not sure. But in 21 seasons, I was able to pitch when I wanted to, do what I wanted to do, because I stayed healthy. A lot of players that I've seen along the way, better athletic ability, structure-wise stronger, got hurt all the time. I'm not sure. Someone upstairs is taking care of me. My mother who passed away early, we had a little thing. I used to always phone her after I'd win. The odd time I'd phone her when I lose. She didn't want to hear when I lost. But my dad was kind of the inspiration. I mean, everyone should have a father figure. I was very lucky to have two parents, mother and dad. And my mentor, Gene DeJure, he got me to where I believed in myself. I always did, but he was kind of pounding me. You got to do this, you got to do this. You got to believe in what you can do. Which I found out that, you know, things that you want to do, you have to set your goals high. Set them high, good things can happen. So many good things happened to me, only because probably of my family. My dad's family from the Barbados, island people. Any island people here? Nobody from the island? All right. Okay. His family came to Canada in the 1800s and migrated probably from Nova Scotia all the way down through Quebec into Ontario. My dad was born in 1909. My mother's family probably through the Underground Railroad, which they did, through Josiah Henson and Uncle Tom's cabin, settled in the Don settlement around in southern Ontario, which they named Dresden. That's where the Uncle Tom's cabin's at. 4 generations Canadians in my family. A lot of history, a lot of rich history, like here in BC. We all came from somewhere, right? We're all immigrants, believe me. We all came from somewhere, and now we've found out where we're at. And it's a rich heritage, you know. And I believe that this stamp for Black History Month just typifies what this country's all about. We all grew together. You know, my kids are. I think it's an eye-opener for me, but my kids are really, really proud of the fact that their dad is on a stamp. In the U.S., you have to be dead. I'm alive, you know, but which is nice, you know, and it's a great celebration. We've done how many cities?
23 cities.
23 cities in 35 days.
In 30 days, yep.
30 days. We started in Ottawa first, and it's been a great experience. Two of the greatest experiences I've ever had, and it opens your eyes on how many relatives you really have. Chatham, where it all started. You know, I was born there in Chatham, 42. My mother's side of the family. Do I look Dutch? I tell this all the time. We have a couple of students that work for the foundation. They're Dutch. This young fellow, name's Craig Nyman. The Van Dusen family, the Lucas and Jackson is on my mother's side of the family. Talbot, Jenkins, and Johnson on my father's side. And without two great parents, I wouldn't be here. But it's just the fact that they settled in southern Ontario. When I went to Chatham, people just came out of the woodwork. 600 people in this auditorium, and half of them were my relatives. And that's what they were telling me. And my father had one brother. He was born in 1911, and his whole family We're in Windsor, Ontario, and all these Jenkins lined up behind me. I had never seen them before. And people say, "Well, I'm your first cousin." I'm like, yeah, okay. You tell me that. But I mean, in a way, you look at them for a while and you go, well, I can see my dad in you, and I can see some facial appearances and the structure-wise of some of the family members. But it brings a smile to your face when you see them. And I was very fortunate enough to have pictures taken. I'm hoping to get all these pictures later on so I can basically look at them some more. But that's the fun part of growing up. I'm 68 years old. My dad, when he passed away, was almost 90. I had a great-great-great-grandmother, was 104. Mary Jenkins, Windsor, Ontario. Gertie Jenkins, my dad's mother, was a little over 90 when she passed away. So I'm hoping that genetics is on my side of the family. And my kids, same way. The heritage part of it, my mother used to always tell me, be proud of who you are, what you are. And my dad used to tell me, the people you meet going up, you're going to meet coming down. You know, even though athletics has been a great part of my life, I've met a lot of great people. And you have to treat people the way you want to be treated. So the game has been really, really good to me. I've enjoyed it. We started this foundation 12 years ago with Carl and board members. We've got John Odie here, Carl's here, Carl Kovacs. We have 11 board members, all different structures, all different people from different walks of life, lawyers, doctors, CPAs, recreation, Stelco Steel, President Stelco. What was your position? Oh, you were a worker.
When I work.
That's why his hair is gray.
But my hair is gray
because of John. No, but you know, we all walks of life. So the foundation we started 12 years ago, well over $2.5 or $2.8 million raised from different charities. We give money to the Red Cross, Special Olympics, juvenile diabetes, cancer research, the CNIB because my mother was blind. And it's really, really work. Boys and Girls Camp, Big Brothers, Big Sisters. You know, when you think about what you can do with your life, I've been out of the game 30 years. I've been retired 30 years. So we found things to do, places to go, and different charities to try to support. So that's what sports, to me, has been all about. It's opened up doors. It's let me get into areas where I would never, ever think about doing. And it's been a fun ride, as you call it, because of the fact that make people smile is what it's all about. You know, the world needs to smile more. That's what it's all about. And I've been very fortunate enough to see people smile. If it's, we have a society called Cry. Cry. It's a women's shelter. Some battered women have problems, and we've taken it on our shoulders to give them things, what they need. They need shelter for 5-6 months to get their feet back on the ground, to help them do certain things with their life, help them with their family, kids' education. That's what we try to do. It's, as I said, it makes you feel good to see people smile because everyone needs a helping hand. Somebody's helped somewhere. Somebody's helped you on the way. As I said, I had a mentor at 15 years old, got me to where I'm at now. My father was kind of the inspiration that got me, my mom, and now with this charity that we support, so many different charities, I really feel good to happen to be a part of it. So thank you for listening to me. That's been my life in a nutshell. I think that what you do here with your black awareness, fantastic. I think you should continue to do it because we all are God's children. Thank you. Fans here, as you see, we have our first edition. We did a stamp envelope. We did it in black for Black History Month. We have stamps. I signed the cover. We have a first edition envelope and a postcard you can mail anywhere. We sell it for a minimal fee. It's all donations. I have a few books left. Carl carries everything in big suitcases. His name should be Arnold Schwarzenegger. The way he's been carrying around. First Ontario Credit Union, my daughter works for them, that's who they did a first envelope. I've done a lot of firsts in my life, so they wanted to have a kind of an affiliation with it. But you can see the different sponsors that get us going across the country, from WestJet, Via Rail, First Ontario, and then Fuji. Fuji's one of our big sponsors. Waste Management, M&M Meats. I don't know how many different sponsors we've got, but the minute we get them on the phone, or we go to their office, and we tell them what we're trying to do, they open their doors to us, which has been outstanding. And most of the sponsors are all Canadian, correct?
Yes, they are.
We got some in the U.S. too. We got American Express before, a few others. But what's nice about it is they understand that giving back is what society is all about. So if you want to purchase any of this articles here, they're here for you.
What would you like, sir?
Baseball.
That's
Book of baseball.
You want a book personalized? Whose name would you like on there?
Mine, Ray.
Ray? R-A-Y?
Ray?
Yeah,
That's a $40 donation. Just give it to the young fella. You want Ray on there?
Ray, thank you very much, buddy. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I just want to get the stamp.